Listen to me right now. I don't care who you are, how much money you think you have, or what your financial advisor told you last week. If you've got cash sitting on the sidelines, you're not being smart. You're not being cautious. You're getting destroyed. And the worst part is you're doing it to yourself. I'm about to show you exactly how your money is evaporating while you sleep. And I'm going to give you the exact playbook to fix it. But you need to understand something first. This isn't about playing defense. This isn't about protecting what you have. This is about going on offense. This is about making your money multiply while everyone else is sitting around waiting for permission. You want to know the difference between people who build real wealth and people who stay stuck? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not even how much they make. It's what they do with every single dollar that comes into their hands. Winners deploy capital. Losers stockpile it. And right now, you're behaving like a loser. Now, before you get offended and click away, let me ask you something. How much cash are you holding right now? Not in investments, not in assets. I'm talking about cash. Money sitting in checking accounts, savings accounts, money markets. How much? If it's more than what you need to cover 3 months of expenses, you're making a critical mistake. And that mistake is costing you a fortune. Here's what nobody wants to tell you because they're afraid you'll get upset. Your cash is trash. It's not a controversial statement. It's mathematical fact. Every single day you hold cash, you lose purchasing power. You think you're being safe. You think you're being responsible. You're not. You're choosing guaranteed loss over potential gain. That's not strategy. That's fear. And fear is the most expensive emotion you can have. Let me break down what's actually happening to your money right now. Let's say you've got 100 grand sitting in the bank. Maybe you're proud of that. Maybe you think that's smart. But while you're feeling good about that number on the screen, inflation is eating it alive. The government tells you inflation is 3%, 4%, maybe 5%. That's a lie. Real inflation, the kind you feel when you go to the grocery store, when you fill up your tank, when you pay your insurance, that's running 7, 8, maybe 10%. So what does that mean for your $100,000? It means you're losing 7 to 10 grand a year in real value. Not on paper, in reality. Your bank statement still says 100,000, but what you can buy with that money is shrinking every month. By the time a decade goes by, that 100,000 has the buying power of maybe 60 or 70 grand. You just lost 30 to 40% of your wealth by doing nothing. By playing it safe. That's not safety. That's suicide. And you know what drives me crazy? People will spend hours researching the best savings account. They'll hunt for an extra 0.5% of interest. They'll move their money from one bank to another to get 4% instead of 3.5%. And they think they're winning. You're not winning. You're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. That ship is going down no matter which chair you pick. The system is rigged against cash holders, and it's been rigged on purpose. Central banks have printed more money in the last few years than in the entire history of civilization. When you flood the system with currency, the value of each unit goes down. That's not economics. That's physics. Supply goes up, value goes down. Your dollar today is worth less than it was yesterday. And tomorrow it'll be worth even less. You can't stop it. You can't negotiate with it. The only thing you can do is get out of the way. But most people don't get out of the way. They sit there, they freeze. They convince themselves they're waiting for the right opportunity. Let me tell you about waiting. Waiting is how you lose. Waiting is how broke people stay broke. Because while you're waiting for the perfect moment, the wealthy are taking action. They're deploying capital. They're building positions. And by the time you finally decide to move, they've already captured the gains. I've seen this story 1,000 times. Someone comes to me with a pile of cash. Maybe it's 500 grand, maybe it's $1 million, maybe more. And they tell me they're waiting for a pullback. They're waiting for a correction. They're waiting for certainty. And I tell them the same thing every time. You're not waiting for opportunity. You're waiting to feel comfortable. And comfortable doesn't exist in wealth building. Comfortable is the enemy. You know what the wealthy understand that you don't? Assets beat currency every single time throughout all of human history. You want to preserve wealth? You don't hold paper. You hold things that produce real estate, businesses, stocks that pay dividends, bonds that pay interest, things that generate cash flow, things that work while you sleep. That's how you win, not by hoarding dollar bills. Let me give you the exact strategy I use, the strategy that's built fortunes. And I'm going to be specific because vague advice is worthless. First principle, your cash is a weapon. It's ammunition. You don't stockpile ammunition. You deploy it. You use it to acquire assets that generate income and appreciate over time. Every dollar should have a job, and that job is to make you more dollars. Here's where you put that cash to work. Dividend-paying equities, not speculation, not some startup that might make it big someday. I'm talking about companies that have been paying dividends for decades. Utilities, consumer staples, healthcare, financials, boring businesses that print money year after year. When you own these companies, you're getting paid just for owning them. Quarterly, like clockwork. That's passive income. That's wealth. And here's the beautiful part. Those dividend payments go up over time. A good company raises its dividend every single year. So not only are you getting paid, you're getting paid more each year. That's inflation protection. That's how you stay ahead. Your cash in the bank doesn't increase. It decreases in real terms. But a properly constructed dividend portfolio grows both in income and in value. Let me give you real numbers because numbers don't lie. A quality dividend portfolio yields 3 to 5% annually. But that's just the cash distributions. The underlying value also appreciates. Over time, you're looking at total returns of 8, 10, 12% a year. Compare that to your bank account giving you 4% while real inflation runs at 8. You're losing 4% a year in purchasing power with cash. You're gaining 8 to 10% with quality equities. That's a 12 to 14% swing. Multiply that over 10 years and you're talking about the difference between wealth and poverty. Next, fixed income, bonds. I know what you're thinking. Bonds are for old people. Bonds are boring. You're wrong. Bonds are having a moment. Interest rates went up. That means bond yields went up. You can lock in 5, 6, 7% on investment grade paper right now. That's guaranteed income. And unlike equities, you know exactly when you're getting your principal back. There's a maturity date. That's certainty in an uncertain world. Here's how you use bonds strategically. You ladder them. You buy bonds with different maturity dates. Some mature in 1 year, some in 3, some in 5, some in 10. This way you always have bonds coming due, and you can reinvest at whatever the current rate is. If rates go higher, great, you reinvest at the new higher rate. If rates drop, you're still holding the bonds you bought when rates were high. You can't lose. You're getting paid no matter what happens. And let me tell you something about bonds that most people don't understand. They provide ballast. When the stock market gets volatile, bonds stabilize your portfolio. When equities drop, bonds hold steady or even go up. That's diversification. That's risk management. But you can't get any of that sitting in cash. Cash doesn't stabilize anything. It just sits there losing value. Third piece of the puzzle, real estate. This is critical. Real estate is the single greatest wealth building tool in human history. Period. More millionaires have been created through real estate than any other asset class. Why? Because real estate does 3 things at once. It appreciates, it generates income, and it provides tax advantages. Show me another investment that does all 3. Now, I'm not saying you need to go buy a rental property tomorrow, although if you can, you should. But if you can't, you invest in real estate investment trusts, REITs. These are companies that own and operate income-producing properties, apartments, office buildings, shopping centers, industrial warehouses. When you buy shares in a REIT, you're essentially owning a piece of all that real estate without having to deal with tenants or maintenance or any of that. And here's the key. REITs are required by law to distribute 90% of their income to shareholders. That means big dividends, 5, 6, 7% yields or more. Plus, real estate values go up over time. Plus, rents increase with inflation. You're getting current income and future appreciation and inflation protection all in one investment. That's a triple win. Your cash gives you none of that. 0. We've got a housing shortage in this country that's going to last for years. Demand is massive. Supply is limited. When demand exceeds supply, prices rise. That's economics 101. If you own real estate or REITs, you benefit from that imbalance. If you're sitting in cash, you're watching from the sidelines. You're spectating while others accumulate wealth. That's a choice. And it's the wrong choice. Now let's talk about diversification because I know some of you are worried. What if stocks crash? What if bonds lose value? What if real estate corrects? These are valid concerns. And the answer is you spread your risk. You don't put everything in one place. A balanced portfolio might be 50% equities, 30% bonds, 20% real estate, or maybe it's 40, 40, 20. The exact allocation depends on your age and goals. But the point is you're diversified across multiple income-producing assets. When you diversify properly, you build a portfolio that can handle anything. Market crashes, your bonds and real estate cushion the blow, interest rates spike, your dividend stocks and REITs adjust, inflation heats up, your real assets keep pace. This is how you protect and grow wealth simultaneously. And this is exactly what you cannot do if you're sitting in cash, paralyzed by fear. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. A few years back, I knew someone with $2 million in cash, just sitting there, earning nothing. I asked why. He said he was waiting for the market to drop so he could get in cheap. Classic timing mistake. You know what happened? The market went up 20%, then 30%, then 40%. He missed all of it because he was waiting for certainty, and certainty doesn't exist. Even when there were small corrections, 5% pullbacks, he still didn't buy because he convinced himself a bigger crash was coming. Fast forward to today. He's still sitting on cash, and that $2 million has the purchasing power of maybe $1.4 million. He lost 600 grand by doing nothing, by being cautious, by playing it safe. That's not caution, that's cowardice. And cowardice is expensive. Don't be that person. Don't let fear cost you your financial future. The best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is right now, not next week, not when the market pulls back, now. Because time in the market beats timing the market every single time. That's not opinion, that's data, decades of data. Nobody can consistently predict market tops and bottoms. Not me, not you, not the smartest people on Wall Street. The people who build wealth are the ones who stay invested, who keep putting money to work, who understand that markets trend up over time despite short-term noise. Volatility is the price you pay for returns. If you're not willing to pay that price, you don't get the returns. Simple as that. Here's what I want you to do today, right now. Before you do anything else, look at your accounts, add up how much cash you're holding. If it's more than 6 months of living expenses, you need to deploy that capital immediately. Open a brokerage account if you don't have one. Start building positions in dividend stocks. Buy a bond fund, invest in a RAT, get that money working. Every day you wait is a day you're losing ground. Every week you sit idle is a week you're missing gains. This isn't about being reckless. This is about being rational. This is about understanding that holding cash in this environment is the riskiest thing you can do. You're choosing the guaranteed loss over the potential win. That's backwards. And let me address the people who are scared, the people who say the market feels high, the economy feels uncertain, I don't know what to do. First of all, the market always feels high to somebody. There's always uncertainty. There's always a reason not to invest. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. And while you wait, you'll stay broke. Second, uncertainty is part of the game. If you want returns, you accept some risk. But what you're doing right now, sitting in cash, that's not eliminating risk. That's just picking a different risk. The certainty of losing purchasing power. I'd rather take my chances with assets that have the potential to grow than sit in cash where I'm guaranteed to lose. That's not bravery. That's logic. You want to build wealth? Stop hoarding cash and start acquiring assets. It's that simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. The strategies work, the math works, the history works. All you need to do is execute, take action, deploy your capital, get off the bench and into the game. So here's my challenge to you. Commit right now to putting 10% of your cash to work this week. Just 10%. Buy some dividend stocks, buy a bond fund, buy a REIT, do something, get started. Because once you do, once you see that money generating income, once you see your portfolio growing, you'll wonder why you waited so long. And listen, if this message landed with you, if you're realizing you've been making a mistake, I need you to take action in 2 ways. First, subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of people who understand money, who refuse to stay broke, who take control of their financial future. Second, drop a comment below and tell me what you're going to do. What percentage of your cash are you deploying? What assets are you buying? When you put it in writing, you're more likely to follow through. This channel exists to give you the truth, not the comfortable lies, not the feel-good nonsense, the actual truth about how money works and how you build wealth. If you want that truth, you need to be here. So subscribe, comment, take action. Your future self will thank you. Now stop making excuses and go make it happen.